Okay, now that we have talked about how important it is to be connected with natural cycles and what influence and variation each one has, be it the daily cycle, the 24 hours of the day, of the lunar cycle, the 4 phases of the moon, or the solar cycle, the seasons, let's talk about the natural cycle frequency package and the app developed by Nuno Nina for Healy. To remind you of the importance of natural cycles, let me make an analogy. Natural cycles are like roads of life, and if these roads did not exist, certainly life as we know it would not exist. So, if for some reason we stop walking on these roads, sooner or later we will go into bioenergetic imbalance. And why is that? Because our metabolism obeys the circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm obeys the lunar and solar cycles. This is why it is so important to be aligned with our natural rhythms. There are 8 ideal dates to reconnect with our natural cycles, the so-called trigger dates. These are the solstices, the equinoxes, and the days in between, as you can see here. Here, by converting the solar cycle to the sine function, we can see that the solstices define the extreme values in relation to oxidation and reduction. We can see that the summer solstice will always be the highest point of oxidation, and the winter solstice the highest of reduction. Let us now give a practical example using London. The starting point for the calculation made by the Healy app is our location. And why is location important? To know our redox levels. Both the sun and the moon affect different locations differently. For example, London on 21st of March hits the maximum oxidation level, the winter solstice. But if you live in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, I am hitting the maximum reduction level, the summer solstice. Consequently, the frequencies that Healy will determine will be completely different. We just want you to understand the concept. The work will be for Healy. The app will calculate everything. So, by entering our time zone, the app does the work for us and determines the ideal day to start this realignment with the natural cycle and which program to use. So, of the 8 existing trigger dates, which we have seen before, Healy will select the one which is closest. As we are recording this episode on February 27th, the next date will be the spring equinox on March 20th. So, regarding the solar cycle, we are acidic and beginning the second half of the oxidation phase that will culminate with the summer solstice. We are at a time of energy where we are using up the energy reserves that we have gained in the reduction process. The moon's influence in this process is equally important to that of the sun. So don't forget that these influences of natural cycles are one of the reasons why we are alive. For this, Healy will determine what the moon phase is on the selected trigger date. On March 20th, the example we are mentioning, the moon phase will be new moon, symbol of a new beginning, the start of a new cycle. Well, at this point, Healy has already considered the solar cycle and the lunar cycle. All that remains is to consider the daily cycle in order to determine the correct frequencies to use. This calculation comes from the time of the selected event, equinox or solstice. In the case of the spring equinox on March 20th, this will occur at 9:24 p.m. Based on the Chinese body clock, the active meridian during this period will be the triple heater. The triple heater refers to the organ system as a whole. Healy can take this data and work with it to calculate frequencies that will help us to be more in sync with our natural cycles. In fact, the solar cycle is the main one. It defines either we are oxidizing or reducing. And one of the reasons for this is because of the length of time. Next is the moon cycle, and then the daily cycle in terms of overall action. The moon cycle acts as a monthly compensation, and the daily, as the name indicates, acts with small daily compensations. Now let's look at the amazing work Healy does for us. We start by using the Heal Advisor app, and for those who have purchased Natural Cycle, this option will appear. The only action required will be to choose the time zone of where you are. In my case, it will be the Greenwich Mean Time. Et voila, everything we have explained so far, we don't need to waste time determining. Healy calculates through software and tells us the ideal day and time to start this reconnection with the natural cycles. And this will be our menu. The day steps to take on the given day. You will need to drink 2 glasses of water, one 30 minutes before and one 15 minutes before the first set of frequencies. As soon as you finish the first set of frequencies, you will have to drink another glass of water and then do the second set of frequencies, the so-called stabilization frequencies. And what are these frequencies for? Well, I will try to explain it to you with an analogy. Many of you paint or have seen charcoal painting. When a drawing is finished, a varnish is generally used to fix the charcoal so that the drawing stays in place. This is the function of the stabilization frequencies, to fix the synchronism that we have achieved, so that in the next session we are one step closer to the flow of the natural cycles. The stabilization program lasts 30 minutes and you have 2 options, daily rhythm or solar rhythm. You should use daily if you feel that you are too out of alignment with your daily cycle. For example, if you don't empty your bowls in the morning. Or solar if your daily cycle is already quite aligned. When you feel that you are aligned with the natural cycle, you can stop the use of frequencies. You must also choose one of the trigger dates to end your protocol. And so we end these episodes on the natural cycle. Hopefully it was enlightening. So thank you for watching. See you next time.